Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Idea to Value podcast. I'm your host, Nick Skillicorn, and I'm thrilled to have with me today Adi Mazor Kario. She is an innovation strategy and design expert, and today we're going to be talking with her about her new book, Innovating Through Chaos, as well as her extensive experience helping companies design, launch new products, her experiences of the innovation scene in Israel, and how your company can use those insights to improve your own innovation performance. Adi, it's wonderful having you here today.
I'm so happy to be here. It's going to be a pleasure. I'm sure about that.
Welcome to the Idea to Value podcast, where in every episode we highlight the latest insights into creativity and innovation from experts around the world. I'm your host, Nick Skillicorn. I care about the evidence behind what makes ideas happen, and I've already helped thousands of people just like you through my unique insights into recent scientific findings of how creativity works. I also show you how to turbocharge innovation programs so they finally deliver on the value and ideas you've been struggling to execute. Get your free training on how creativity can be improved by registering now at www.ideatovalue.com. Now let's get on with today's episode. So Adi, you and I were talking before the interview started about your background, and you've got quite a lot of experience before today doing innovative work. Can you try and summarize that as succinctly as possible into your journey as to how you got to where you are now?
Okay, so first I'll tell you what I'm doing now, and then I'll tell you a bit of how did I get here. So typically my clients are tech companies who want to prepare for the future and lead their markets. And I help them deliver these innovative, successful products with design proven methods. So I know how to do design and product and to do innovative products. And it started when I did I started with the product design. And actually, my story really begins in my second pregnancy. I was pregnant with my second child, and I was doing product and design in a small company. And I felt a bit like it's not moving. I'm not doing my best. And then I went into maternity leave, and I was called to the CEO. He was my manager, to come in. And I was a bit afraid, and a bit anxious. And I went into his office. And I came with the baby because I was in maternity leave, and I placed it within my baby carrier, and I went in a bit cautiously, and the only thing I remember from this 30 minutes talk, more or less, is when he fired me that the baby started to cry because my heart beat so fast against his chest. And it was like a shock for me, I'm at home. I went through my BA studies in design, and it was like too much for me, and I didn't know what to do. So at first I was like, what can I do? I don't know how to pay the rent. How will I do my studies? How will I go on? And then a friend of mine told me, I'm gonna refer a client to you. And I said, okay, it doesn't matter. I'll be a freelancer. I'll be employed, self-employed. It doesn't really matter. And it started a journey to be a business owner. And I went into a company, was a very successful company, and it still exists till today, which is a very successful startup in 20 years of startup. And the first thing I saw there is how do they measure everything, which is very new. It was very new then to collect the data and measure everything. And it was the first time I saw how is design impacting the results, the financial results of the product. And then I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the best out of the connection between design and business and delivering products. And I learned more and more. And in the past, startups they need to learn. They didn't have lots of methodologies. They didn't have clean startups and design sprints and business model canvas. It was not there. So they learned while doing. And I learned with them how to work with entrepreneurs. And then I worked with bigger companies. And then I worked with IBM. And then Google approached me to be part of their accelerator. And then I did more and more. And from there, I grew. So it's like, there was this crisis and unknown and uncertainty, and I grew from it. And today I'm lecturing all around the world, and I'm teaching people what I learned through these years. And this method that I call Invincible Innovation formula is what I teach them from all I learned through this long process.
And we were talking, you're based in Israel. Is that in Tel Aviv or in which part?
I'm in Netanya, near Netanya, which is a bit more to the north, but actually, Tel Aviv is half an hour. if you don't have traffic, and now we don't have that many traffic. So it's kind of easy. So I usually, when people ask me, I tell them, have you been to Israel? If they say no, I say, so I'm from Tel Aviv.
The only reason I ask is Tel Aviv in the last couple of years has really gained its reputation as a hotspot of innovation, not just in the region, but worldwide. And
Right.
for a country that's so small, the Israelis seem to be really punching above their weight when it comes to launching startups successfully and actually getting traction worldwide.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there a sort of different way of approaching startups in Israel compared to US, the European countries? What's been your experience?
Yeah, so first you're right, because the investment per capita compared to the size of the amount of people here in Israel. So per capita, we have the most foreign investment in Israel. And I think there are several things that you could say about Israel. First, it's really small. Second, you don't have any other option. You need to innovate. Like necessity is the mother of every innovation. So this is what happens in Israel. You must really create new things all the time. And what is really happening in Israel that about in the 90s, the government decided to invest in very high risk innovation, like startups that most of them will not succeed. Most startups don't succeed, but even in the beginning, even more. And they decided to do it. And it was a financial decision that brought much more leverage to innovation in Israel and technology in Israel. And the startups, they have this ecosystem, which is unique in Israel. And, we are not the smartest in the PISA, there is these PISA tests. And I think we're like in 30 place. So it's not like we don't have the most smart people. But I heard that when they asked about how confident you are with the result, they asked that, and we came up in the first line, because people in Israel, they are so like sure that they know everything, even if they don't know, as you can see. So there is something really fearful, like this is what we're going to do. And even if we fail, and we know we probably will fail, it's okay. We'll continue. And we have the fearfulness and curiosity and grit, because in order to be a successful startup, you need to fail and then come up and do something else, or maybe pivot or go to a new venture or whatever. And only when you have many people doing that, you could have successful startups. Most successful startups are not the first venture that an entrepreneur has. So because they invested so many like resources in that, currently this is what we have. They have the ability to have so many people involved in doing startups and innovation and being an entrepreneur, although it's really hard to be one.
And does this experience shape the methodology and the framework that you talked about earlier, that you teach clients with now?
Yeah, for sure. So first, Invincible Innovation formula is a practical formula. It's not like a theory or a best practice for how could you change the mindset or the strategy or the way that you're doing things within the structure of the culture of the innovation in your company. It's very practical. What could you do? And it's taking from working within uncertainty, which is what any startup is doing. Startups, they don't know anything. They don't have the clients. They have an idea. They're not sure if it's a good one or not. And what could they do in order to create a successful product with so many like obstacles and less resources and less knowledge, and you don't have anything to begin with. So how could you do something new? So these methodologies of really going and trying and learning and starting and searching, creating something, testing it out, and deciding how to go on. This is what is needed within corporates, because they are very comfortable. Like one of the things you could say about these, like the ecosystem in Israel and in general, they are not settled. So they are not like comfortable. And this is how things happen, like what Steve Jobs said, stay hungry, stay foolish, and never settle. Something like that. I think this is what he said. And Israel is not settled in any sense, I would say. So this is something that comfortable corporates find it very hard to create. And this is missing for them because they need something practical. They want to see results. And it's hard for them to create that within something which is very structured and very comfortable. And they have their core, they know what they're doing there. And it's hard for them to even think about doing things differently and faster and trying things out and being unsure and maybe failing and learning from it. Like in corporate, when you fail, there is a price. In startup, there is a price too, but it's not the same. And the way that maybe VCs are thinking about startups is the way that innovation leaders should think about their internal entrepreneur initiatives. How do they have many of them and manage this portfolio in order to get to the one or two winning products that will deliver the future of their products and the future of their services and their company in general?
If anyone's listened to me, they know that I'm a big proponent for portfolios as well. If people want to take this practical approach, and you say it's a practical formula, I'm sure that to do the whole thing, they should probably get your book and speak to you directly. But what's one piece of advice that either a company leader or someone trying to improve innovation in one of these large corporates can start now to actually gain some improved performance?
So I would start from the beginning. So you need to have the open-mindedness, the mindset to say, okay, I don't know everything and I'm going to search and I'm going to learn. So this is the first thing. And when you say that and you want to listen more than speak, this is a very good beginning for entrepreneurship in general. So go and talk to your clients, talk to your vendors, talk to your suppliers, talk internally to people who are connected with these clients, with sales, with support. They know so much, and sometimes you are not aware of all the opportunities and all the feedback that they are in. So in many cases, they have these dashboards of how satisfied they are or how many people bought the service or the product, and that's it. And they don't really know within what's going on. And when you know more about this specific person that you're building everything for, who is he, what his needs, and currently the needs are changing. Once you know that is the beginning of such a great journey. You can have so many ideas, and then you can have something which is like a test or experiment. Like in science, we don't know the results. So we're creating these experiments and we're seeing the result. And based on these results, we decide how to continue. So this way of thinking, which is iterative and it's like open-minded, this is what is needed in order to create new things in a certain time. So everything that you're doing new is uncertain. So you need to be more comfortable with uncertainty, especially right now when we know like everything is changing, markets are changing, people are changing. So you could say, okay, I know this, like these are my clients for the last 15, 20, 30 years. How can I give them more? How can I give them better solutions? How can I make my product better for them? Maybe I can add another service or a product. So you can start from just talking to them and really listening to them. And I think this is the really big start, like being curious.
You're right. The world is changing. Things are getting more complicated, and they are quite chaotic in the time that we are right now in 2020. Is that where the title for your upcoming book came from, Innovating Through Chaos?
Yeah, so I thought, okay, so now is like a junction for me, because in the past I've done like more product and design and UX and technical products, and then I've done like more design sprints and workshops, and I worked all around the world just delivering these kinds of workshops. And I say, what is this thing that is needed right now? And I said, how can what I know from 20 years of experience, how can I pass it on? So I created the Invincible Innovation program in order to do that. And there I have this catalyst, which is like an accelerator. How can we do it together and pass on what I learned? And Innovating Through Chaos is starting from right now. So what is the new opportunities out there in the market right now? What has changed due to COVID? What could be the new trends in technology? What are the opportunities? And then from these opportunities, what could be done? So what could you do with the changing, uncertain markets and how can you deliver these products that are really needed? And this is why I called it like a proven formula for launching products during uncertain times. So how can you do that when you have so many like question marks out there?
Is it applicable to all companies though? Because the methodologies you mentioned, UX, design sprints especially, those are traditionally for technical products, new
Right.
apps, new websites, new digital solutions. Are they frameworks that can also be used by other types of companies?
Yeah, so first you're right, and it came from Google Ventures Design Sprint. So I'm taking what I know from Design Sprint and a business model canvas and lean startups, and I gathered everything in order to create an impact, because in many cases design sprints are so like hype and fast, and you get to something and it's not being executed. And what I want to have is something that you have more time to really think it through and to get to the result that could be implemented in the end, because I'm more interested in the results. So for me, I'm looking for a tangible result in the end of this process. And you're right, sometimes it's more for tech, but the way of thinking, of creating new things, understanding your clients, gathering more information, being open-minded, and having the results before you start the whole process of 1 or 2 years of creating something, it's relevant for everyone. And more than that, I guess that we know surely for now that every company, even if it's like in finance, in banks, in insurance, in whatever like domain that you're taking, if they are not looking on digital solutions, they are not out there anymore. Like you can see even insurance, which is like very old traditional domain and industry, everything is passing on to online. Everything, all of the services, all of the connection with the clients, even buying your policies could be online. And the new frontier is there. So each company should see itself partly as a tech company. And if not, it will be very hard for them to stay relevant, I would say.
Perfect. Adi, it's been wonderful speaking with you. I think there's a lot that people can learn by getting in touch with you. If people want to find out more about you and your work, what's the best place they can go and do that?
So first, I'm on LinkedIn. But if you want to learn more about what we talked about, it's invincibleinnovation.com. And if you want to find out about the book, invincibleinnovation.com/book.
Perfect. I'll make sure to get all those links down in the description below. Adi, it's been wonderful speaking with you, and I look forward to speaking again with you soon.
Sure. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave me a comment about what you thought and what you'd like to see more about. If you want to take your creativity and innovation capabilities to the next level, then invest in yourself with the premium training only available at ideatovalue.com. These exclusive training modules have all been put together by me, Nick Skillicorn, and have been used by thousands of artists, innovation leaders, and CEOs to become better at understanding the source of their creativity and executing on their innovation ambitions. And there is no risk to you, as they are backed by our money-back guarantee. Now, don't forget to go out there and make your ideas a reality. See you again soon.